Boston Bruin fans, a lot of them are Boston Celtic fans. The Bruins lost a 3-0 series lead just this year. What's going on? Stuart Scott, Mike Wilbon, John Barry, Hall of Famer, five-time champion Irvin Magic Johnson. There the Boston Celtics were, ready to sweep up the Orlando Magic, and instead we get the first overtime game of the entire postseason. Here we go. Under 5.5 to play, Magic down 2. Jameer Nelson inside to a wide-open Dwight Howard for the two-handed jam. Wilbon, what'd you like about Jameer Nelson's game?
He followed through on a promise. He said he was going to get into the paint and create some shots for teammates, particularly Dwight Howard, 23 points, 9 huge assists.
And then Ray Allen starts doing what he does, the prettiest jumper in the league. 3 from the corner, Celtics down by only 2. Paul Pierce again. What were you thinking when you saw this, JB?
I was thinking that this thing was all over.
In the extra frame, Jameer Nelson. Wilbon, your boy was heating it up.
Yeah, he didn't call glass there, though.
And that's a rainbow shot that went well. Jameer scores the first 6 of overtime. Later, Ray Allen. Any 3, you can 3. I can 3 better. And then Paul Pierce. Chance for a 3? No. Paul Pierce gets it back from the Department of Redundancy Department. Wilbon, he missed all of his shots short.
Legs tired. He was tired at the end of regulation. He should have gotten a timeout at some point.
The Orlando Magic survive. They win Game 4. They avoid the sweep. They take it 96-92. Before the game, Magic Johnson said Dwight Howard needed another 30-some point game. Here you go, 32 points, 16 boards, 4 block shots. Jameer, 23 points, 5 boards, and 9 assists. Celtics do not get the sweep. Moments ago, Magic coach Stan Van Gundy said his team played with desperation.
Can you talk about the desperation and the purpose that your guys played with throughout, it seemed like?
Well, I don't think we played desperate, but I do think we played hard and we fought. And I thought in the first half we played well. In the second half, in overtime, 15 turnovers. We didn't play well, but we did keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And, you know, that's what it took to get an overtime win. You know, but we held them under 40% in the second half. Allen hit some huge shots late in overtime, but other than that, we guarded them pretty well. It's the first time, I think, in the series we've actually made it tough on them. What exactly went wrong for the Boston Celtics that they couldn't?
Well, you know, we've seen this throughout the season. Fourth quarter bogged down offense. Now, you combine the fourth and overtime, they went 8 for 26. They scored 24 points in the last, 17 minutes of the ball game. Turnovers, just isolation basketball, and a little fatigue. You know, Kevin Garnett was 4 for 4. He hits 1 of his last 8. And for Orlando, it was all about Dwight Howard. And Magic mentioned it, how they got him the ball on the move. It's not just straight post-ups with his back to the basket. He's rolling off pick and rolls. Jameer Nelson, Vince Carter coming off these pick and rolls. Now you don't have a body on the offensive boards. This guy's the best offensive rebounder we have in the game. He got a lot of his points that way, and they did a great job of getting the basketball on the move. That's where you have to do it. And all hats off to the Orlando Magic. To come out and play, believe me, I've been in games when I'm down 3-0 and you feel empty. You're on the road. You know that no team has ever come back and won. It's a gut-wrenching feeling to come out and play in that ball game. And for them to come out and compete like this, you got to take your hats off to Van Gundy and the rest of the guys.
I guess the group therapy session worked. It apparently worked. I mean, they did what they had to do in that one day to regroup. But let's go to the Celtics for a second, because Doc Rivers also said yesterday that one thing about his team, they were sort of maddening to coach in one way. They couldn't stand prosperity. They had to do things a tough way because, unlike most veteran teams, they couldn't ever sort of put it in cruise control and understand how to play that way. And he cautioned them about it, At one point he said yesterday that, remember, guys, after tomorrow, they've got more home games than we've got. I mean, Doc was pulling out all the stops because he did not want to go back to Orlando with a 3-1 lead, even though it's 3-1. He didn't want to go back down to Orlando, have them extend this series. The Celtics, I thought, and I don't want to be too harsh about this, this is a really smart team, and they played really smart basketball the entire postseason. They played dumb down the stretch. They didn't run anything. Rondo did not go to the basket at all. We're sitting there in the green room watching the game, wondering why Rondo's not attacking the defense. He never did. They sort of stopped and they ran these ISO plays as if they were the Atlanta Hawks. And we're not used to seeing that from the Boston Celtics. So now Doc has got to go play this game and get his team. Because, you know, you go down there now, Orlando feels they can, of course they think they can win game 5.
But let's give Jameer Nelson a lot of credit, because this young man came out 23 points, 9 assists. He was in that lane all night long. You wonder why Rondo couldn't respond, is because Jameer put all that pressure on, and then he hit 2 big threes in overtime. This one off the glass, he didn't call bank, and this one right over Paul Pierce, the dagger. Jameer Nelson was really the player of the game because he got Howard involved, got him on the move. He was either scoring or passing great lobs to Howard so he could score easy baskets. Give Jameer Nelson a lot of credit.
Well, I say a lot of credit because he was the last guy out of the gym in Boston, New Boston Garden. The last Orlando Magic player out of the gym yesterday for practice was Jameer Nelson. And he was, part of it was sitting there reflecting and talking about what he personally needed to do, which was get in the lane and sort of break down the Boston Celtic defense. He said it just that simply. It wasn't a prediction or a guarantee. He knew what he needed to do and followed through on that promise.